Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing you another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Catwoman from the Batman, and this is the gold label variant. I believe this is a Walmart exclusive. This is the proper mask Catwoman. She has a mask sort of semi-pulled down, but her chin is exposed. That's how she wore it in the film. There's two other releases of Catwoman already out, one with the mask completely on, one with the mask pretty much all the way off, but on the top of her head. Third try's a charm. It took them third tries to get it right. I'm assuming they worked off promotional material that Warner Brothers gave them, and Warner Brothers had changed how the mask was going to look midway between, and McFarlane had to catch up. Happy to have this release. I just saw this thing on Instagram about a week ago. That's what I love about this line. Even though we have all these leaked lists and stuff coming out, there are still surprises along the way. Shout out to my boy Corey for finding this for me. So let's check out the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane toys, ages 12 plus, McFarlane Gold Label Edition. Now, Gold Label is different from Platinum. It's not a chase variant, but it's an exclusive of sorts. Catwoman, DC Multiverse from the Batman film. Here she is in the package. She comes with a collector's card, a display stand, and of course her whip. One side of the package, Catwoman from the Batman. Other side simply says Catwoman. The bottom got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode, in case that helps anybody. And on the back side, here's Catwoman posed up, sliding down the side of a building. And here are some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures you should check out. So with no further ado, let's open her up. And of course, I did end up getting two of these figures. One of which to open and enjoy, and the other one to keep unopened in my complete 67-inch unopened Batman-related action figure collection. Here are all three different variations of McFarlane's The Batman Catwoman. Mask completely on, mask partially on, and mask most of the way off. Here's McFarlane's entire collection of The Batman figures. I believe it is fully complete at this point, unless there are some other surprises we don't know about. Maybe a battle-damaged Batman, maybe an Alfred, maybe a Gordon. I don't expect anything like that, but one can hope. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here she is with all of her accessories laid out. She does come with a display stand, a collector's card, and then her whip. But before we take a look at the accessories, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Catwoman from the Batman. Catwoman is played by Zoë Kravitz. Now this is the third variation of the Catwoman figure McFarlane has made, and I've seen a lot of hate about this figure. A lot of frustration. Why would McFarlane make us buy three different figures? And of course, the last one is the most accurate, most desirable variant. This is a gold label variant, at least in the US, it's a Walmart exclusive, and I guarantee this is not McFarlane's fault. I imagine they sculpted these figures a very long time ago based off of promotional material that Warner Brothers supplied. Warner Brothers probably changed their mind about how they were going to have Zoë Kravitz have Catwoman's mask in the film, and it took McFarlane a while to get caught up. At least that's my best guess. I personally wouldn't even mind a fourth variation of Catwoman, completely unmasked, without the mask on her head. I've seen a lot of 3D printed heads on eBay. It'd be nice to make one of those, but not at the high prices they're asking. So let's take a look. It is a little bit more of the same. This figure has been made plenty of times, so you can see the sort of ears on the sides of the ski mask. The texturing is very nice on the mask. Now her eyes are exposed, as is her chin, just like it was in the film. Going further down, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. Texturing on the suit is very nice. Different texturing here than here. The mask, very thin waist. But the worst thing about the figure is these giant ball joints on her ankles. They look absolutely hideous. I really cannot comment enough on how much I like the texture on her suit. Very well done. I personally think this Catwoman figure is excellent. I've seen some people that don't seem to like it, but I think McFarlane did a pretty nice job on her. And just a closer look at her face and head sculpt. The likeness is not bad. Looks like she has some very mild side eyes going on. A lot better than some of the other McFarlane figures. Of course, this being the accurate version of the mask, it does have sort of better likeness just by default. Here's the fully masked version. I actually think it makes more sense in universe for her to wear this kind of mask, but I don't think she wore it like this even one time in the film. And of course, we also have the unmasked Selina Kyle. Unfortunately, she has the mask on the top of her head, which ruins a lot of different potential uses I would have for the unmasked Selina Kyle head. And here's a close look at all three of the heads together. Which one is your favorite? Drop me a line in the comments below. I imagine most people are going to like this gold label version with her chin exposed. But I could see an argument being made for the fully masked one. I just think it makes a little bit more sense in universe for her to have the mask covering up the rest of her face. Now let's take a look at her accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's her display stand. Typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle, says DC at the bottom. It's got one peg for the peg holes on her feet. Very thin, very basic. Now let's look at her collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of the Catwoman figure scaling down the side of a building. She does have the correct mask for the figure. Catwoman from the Batman. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Here are all three versions of the collector's card for Catwoman. Mask fully on, the new one with the mask partially on, then the mask off. This new gold label one has a shiny silver border. Here's her whip. As you can see, here's the end part, a little bit fatter, and it has nice sculpt detail all the way down. Now, I always thought the bottom looked really weird. It looks like it should plug into something. Here are all three versions of the whip. We have the rolled up one that came with the unmasked version, this straighter one that came with this new version, and then this bent up one that came with the fully masked version. Here's Catwoman holding the rolled up version of the whip. Then, getting ready to crack her whip here in midair. And finally, holding the bent whip. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and her accessories, now let's check out her height. And this is one of the shorter figures McFarlane has made. From bottom to the top of her head, she's standing at about 6.6 inches tall, which is going to translate to about 16.5 centimeters. Now let's check out her articulation. Starting with her head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side. She can look up about that far, down about that much, not too bad. Can tilt her head from one side to the other, giving her a good amount of personality. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out about 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. She does have a butterfly joint between her shoulder and chest area, just increasing the range of motion. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. Her wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. Ball joint in her torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one in her waist, rotate around, although mine is very tight, go forward and back, giving her a pretty good range of motion in her torso area. Legs completely does the splits, not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. Rotation is pretty minimal. Legs go forward that far, back, not too much. Double jointed knees. Then her ankle with the large balls, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, although mine's a little bit stuck there, and to articulation. I mentioned her waist and her ankles being a little bit stuck. Looks like she's going to need a hot water bath to free some of those up. Here's a look at Catwoman's apartment. She's got a ton of feline friends. And here's Catwoman standing in her apartment. Then Batman visiting her. He says, "You've got a lot of cats." And she replies, "Yeah, I've got a thing for strays." And here she is, lying in her apartment surrounded by cats. Here's Catwoman on the rooftop, fully masked up and ready to go. And then Batman embracing Catwoman on the rooftop. Right before Catwoman leaves, Batman says, "Selina, don't throw away your life." And she says, "Don't worry, baby. I've got 9 of them." Here's Catwoman, first confronting the Batman in the mayor's home. And here she is, scaling down the side of a building. Now let's check her out, next to some other action figures. Starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's this proper masked version, next to the fully masked version. That was the first release McFarlane made from the Batman. And here she is, with the unmasked version. Here are all 3 different variations of Catwoman from McFarlane's The Batman collection. Here she is, next to the actual Batman. He's considerably larger than her, but Robert Pattinson is also considerably taller than Zoë Kravitz in real life. Here's Catwoman, next to the Riddler and Penguin. Here's McFarlane's entire The Batman collection. It is finally complete, unless they have some surprises down the road that we don't know about, and I would welcome anything more they would make from this line. And let's not forget about these 2 motorcycles. And I actually got 3 of these Riddler figures. They make for some great army builders. While we're on the subject of the Batman figures, here she is, next to a NECA Twilight Edward. Edward is played by Robert Pattinson, the Batman. Then, next to a Diamond Select Toys, or DST, Westworld Bernard. Bernard was played by the same guy that played Jim Gordon in the Batman. And here she is, next to a Diamond Select Gotham Alfred. While this Alfred doesn't exactly look like Andy Serkis, it's a nice, general 7-inch scale Alfred. Here are all the different female figures and variants McFarlane has made so far. We've got quite a few. Now let's check her out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here she is, next to a couple of Lex Luthor figures. Then, next to a couple of Lobo figures. And here she is, next to Superboy Prime and the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn. Then, next to a couple of Mortal Kombat 11 Jokers. And here she is, with the Speed Force Flash from Zack Snyder's Justice League, and Reverse Flash from DC's Rebirth Comics. Then, with the Batman Beyond Unmasked Batwoman and the Atomic Edition of Blight. And now, next to the Batman The Dark Knight Returns, Superman vs. Armored Batman 2-pack, and with a couple of General Zod figures. Here's Catwoman, next to the Future State Batman and Dark Detective. Then, next to the Rebirth Batman and Infinite Frontier Robin. And here she is, next to the Rebirth Martian Manhunter and the Lois and Clark Black Suit Superman. Then, next to the Justice League Endless Winter Aquaman and the Death of the Family Joker. Here she is, next to Ultraman and the Zarnar Batman. And with the gold label Todd McFarlane designed Wonder Woman and the all-gold Anti-Crisis Wonder Woman. Then, with the Infinite Frontier Grifter and the Rebirth Wally West Flash, here's Catwoman, next to some recent McFarlane gaming figures. We have the Arkham Knight, and then the Injustice 2, Green Arrow, and Reverse Flash. Trying to find the Platinum Unpainted Green Arrow. If anyone gets one and isn't interested, please drop me a line in the comments. Then, next to Flash from CW's Arrowverse, and the comic version of Godspeed. And now, next to McFarlane's most recent mega figures, Titan Joker and Clayface. Here's Catwoman, next to the Batman 3 Joker's Wave. Then, with the Gotham Knights figures, here's Catwoman, next to the Batman The Dark Knight Returns Collect to Build a Horse Wave. And finally, next to the Justice League Endless Winter, Collect to Build a Frost King Wave. Now let's check her out, next to some other Catwoman figures. Here she is, with all the different McFarlane Catwoman figures. We have the 7-inch scale in McFarlane's DC Multiverse, and the 6-inch scale in their 1966 TV show figures. Then, next to all of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Catwoman figures. And here she is, next to a DST, or Diamond Select Toys, Cat from Gotham. Then, next to a Yamato Catwoman. And here she is, with a couple of Mezco Catwoman figures. Then, next to a Soap Studios Catwoman. And here she is, with my Mattel Catwoman figures. Then, with my Mafex Catwoman figures. And here, next to an SH Figure Arts Catwoman. Then, next to a Hot Toys Catwoman. And here she is, with my Kenner Catwoman figures. Here's my entire collection of Catwoman figures. And believe it or not, I don't have them all. Here's a McFarlane Catwoman, next to an old Danger Girl figure I use for Selena Kyle with the mask off. Now let's check her out, next to some other cat-themed action figures. Here she is, with a few different cheetah figures. Then, next to a couple of Catman figures. And here, next to Wildcat. Then, next to a Tigress figure. Here's Catwoman, next to several different various cat-themed Fortnite figures. We've got a Kit, Lynx, and Meowskulls. These are from both Jazzwares and Hasbro. Now let's check her out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how she fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix her with. Since she's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. But first, we're going to check her out with some of her McFarlane Toys brothers and sisters. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, with some Jakks Pacific wrestling figures. And here she is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here she is, with some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here she is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here she is, with some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here she is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a pretty nice Catwoman figure. This is definitely going to be the best of the 3 movie Catwoman figures, as it has the proper mask from the film. I'm not going to blame McFarlane for that. I'm going to blame Warner Brothers for probably giving them faulty promotional pictures. Her sculpt and paint job are excellent. I don't have any issues there, but make sure you look at her face good. I saw some, with some of her flesh color in the mask. Her accessories are cool. I'm glad the whip's at least a little bit different from what came before. Her articulation is pretty nice. Really don't have any complaints there. Only big complaint about this figure would be those giant ball joints on her ankles. If I were to rate this figure, I don't exactly remember what I rated the other figures, but I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. I think they did an excellent job with this figure. It's unfortunate that it took them 3 tries to get it right. But, like I said, I don't really think it's their fault. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.